and welcome to this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me, where we focus less on this and more on the ability of what we can do. Join us each and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Disability Global Broadcast, Facebook Live, and LetGoRadio.net. Looking forward to seeing you there.
What's up, everybody? It's D to the J with a roll away, and it's time for another exciting episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. Now, believe it or not, this is episode 104. Can you believe it? And I had a very fantastic, exciting guest that I've been wanting to have for a long time, but would you believe it? She had a little episode with her fur baby and had to take care of it, so we unfortunately had to schedule Miss Heaven for October 12th. We had to reschedule her for October the 12th. So she will be on the show. It's just going to be a little bit later than we planned. Everybody keep her in prayer. Again, we were supposed to have Miss Heaven on, but she had a little bit of an episode with her fur baby, and she's trying to get her fur baby taken care of. Our little doggy's not doing well. So keep Miss Heaven in your prayers, and we will have her on later on. As a matter of fact, it will be October 12th. Hey, Miss Cindy, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Like to welcome everybody to the show today and want to go over just a couple things. Now, I will have a little special guest joining me just a little bit later, but I actually, whenever things come up like this, I always have a backup plan in place. And one of the things that happened, the way that this I guess, this accident happened or what came up happened, I had the backup of talking about intent. Now, intent can go a lot of ways. And it's funny because everybody that I've known, or most of the people that I know in the world, have good intentions. And I was talking about Heaven earlier having to reschedule. She was quite handled it quite professional and said, I'm really sorry, I need to reschedule. Can we reschedule? I had this thing come up and things happen. And you can understand when people are really, really seriously trying to, things come up and they have to take care of a medical emergency or something to that nature. But I wanted to discuss intent on a little bit more of a personal level. And it kind of runs this way with me, and it always has. With a person's intent, you can always tell how honest they are by their intentions. And I understand things come up all the time. Life is life, and life throws you curveballs that you're not ready. There are deaths in the family. There's, pets. There's little kids. There's always something that can come up, and throw a wrench in the works, so to speak. But how you handle it, and it's your intent that you carry with you and what you are going through. But when a person tells you they're going to do something, and then all of a sudden something comes up, sometimes you wonder, was their intent ever to do it in the first place? Or, for example, if a person says, well, I'm going to call you on this day at this time, was their intent actually to do it in the first place? And I was speaking with a friend of mine that I seek advice from time to time, and there's two sides that you have to look at. And we were kind of talking about this earlier in the week, as a matter of fact, because I've had this situation happen to me before. And this is a situation that kind of has bothered me since I was a little boy. My father was a very busy man, and he was, he used to drive for Greyhound and, things of that nature. And we would make plans, and he would say, I'm going to come get you, in 20 minutes, pack your stuff. This happened, that happened. And I did what he said. And then for some reason he wouldn't show up. And, I always questioned what that was about, what his true intent was. Well, when I was very little, I didn't understand the nuances of jobs. I didn't understand the nuances of life, and I didn't understand, what life really was, because I was still growing and still understanding what life was all about. And the fun part about it is that, when you're little, everything bothers you, and you get this impression of people when you're little. Well, that impression of, stuck with me for quite a while, because, my father was quite busy all the time, and we didn't get a lot of time to hang out. And when we did, it was, in my early years, it was so few and far between that I kind of associated that with that he didn't want to. But later on in life, I was able to talk to him and figure out a lot of things that happened, to understand what his intent really was. Now, as we come into the show today, I want to let you know that we are broadcasting live on Facebook, on the Disability Global Broadcast, and on www.letgoradio.net. So feel free to go and listen in. Feel free to join us live. And when you do, please do us a favor and leave us a comment. Let us know how you're feeling today, what you're thinking about, and your comments for the show, because I love when my listeners join in and comment with us and ask questions. So, talking about intention, you have to look at, well, I want to go through four things. And I don't usually do things in threes except for my 3-strike rule. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that too. But a person's word to me has always stuck out. And that is one thing that I hold very dear to myself and very dear to the people that are in my life. And when they say and do things, I hold their word very seriously, because I believe that a person's word is about the only thing, that and their honor is the only thing that someone can't physically take away from you. So you look at life as it is, and you look at what goes on in the entire world today. And it's like, I try to figure out, what does it really mean for a person's word? Well, it kind of goes aside from what is their intention. You can meet a person, male, female, doesn't really matter, and you can strike a conversation with them. And some of them can be honest, and some of them can tell you what they really want right off the bat. I'm this way, I live by this, I do this, this is the way I am. Some people are shy. Some people don't know how to communicate. Some people don't know how to express that, this is what I want, especially when it comes to relationships or, something like that. You're trying to find out something about somebody. They'll cancel a date 2 or 3 times. Well, it's not necessarily that they don't want to do it, and sometimes it is, but the way that you have to find out what their intent is something very important. And I was speaking with Miss Winnie Wilson about this a week ago, and one of the things that she mentioned that I really want to talk about is your base of communication, or your base of conversation. Whenever you establish anything with anybody, the first thing that you have to do is establish a basis of communication. In any relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's intimate, whether it's marriage, whether it's husband and wife, whether it's son and daughter, whether it's mother and daughter, whether it's, son and father, or vice father and son, or vice versa. You still have to establish a mode of communication. And I think that one of the things in this life that is taken for granted is children to parent communication. And what I mean by that is, whether you have a disability or not, whether, whatever's going on in your life, when someone says something to a child, it should be embraced. Because when you tell a child something, you have to remember that your word to them is very impressionable from an early age. Because depending on how they were raised and how they were brought up, a child can be very fragile in the, I want to say, I don't even want to bring ego into it, but how they feel, what they think when a child is let down over and over and over again, or a child is told, oh, we're going to do this. I'll give you an example. I've seen a father or a mother tell a child, we're going to go to the park in 20 minutes. Go get ready. Go get your stuff. Go get ready. And you look at that and you go, well, the child gets excited, okay, because it's something that they've wanted to do all day long. Or if you finish your homework at this time and you get all your answers right, I'll take you to the park. When you think about that, that's just, to you, that may be, I'm going to take my son or daughter to the park. Hey, Milton, how are you? Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Your word to that child has been impressioned on them. You have told them, your son or daughter, that you're going to do something for them. You're going to reward them for something that they've done right. And then all of a sudden, well, dad or mom can't take you to the park right now. I'm too busy. What makes you too busy not to honor your word to that child? And why does it change? I look at this and I used to look at it, and I used to feel all the time almost a letdown. Never from, I don't want to say never. My mom very rarely let me down. When my mom said something, I could usually take it to the bank. She wasn't a person to tell me, I'm going to do something and then not do it. And I guess the way that I was raised, a person's word meant something, because that's something that you can carry with you as integrity. Okay. But if you, it's right, live up to your promises. That's exactly right. And I don't promise something very often, because I'll be honest. A promise, you shouldn't do it unless your full intention is to keep it. Now, you can call me old fashioned if you want to. You can call me, living in the old days, sometimes you just want to get at stuff. That's fine. All right. And I understand that. And adults are a little bit different. And we'll get into the adult side in a minute. But growing up with cerebral palsy, I couldn't, do a lot of things that I wanted to do. But my mom always tried to make me, feel part of what was going on, or always tried to make me happy, and gave me the best of what she had. And I enjoyed my life growing up, because my grandparents were there and my mom was there and my brother was there to a point until he, grew up and moved on. But a person's word to a child, to that child, it can be sacred. Now, I'm not saying that I'm just saying live up to who you are. If you say you're going to do something, be man or woman enough to do it. And that goes with intent. When you're going to raise that child and you're going to teach that child not to touch a hot oven, or don't put a penny in a light socket, or don't, or do, why do you teach that? Because you don't want to hurt them. You want to raise your kids to the best of the ability. You want your kids to be taught with honor and respect and love, or at least I would hope you would. Maybe this works for, this is what coming from me. This is not necessarily coming from you. I'm just saying that I think people have ideas about how things should go, and everybody can raise their kids with their choice. It doesn't come with a manual. Life doesn't come with a manual. But I look at a person's word and I wonder, do people value that like they used to? I know when I was growing up, if I lied or I fibbed or I told a story, I would end up in my room and I would be punished, because one thing you don't do is lie. And when lies happen, you tell one lie and then you tell another one and you tell another one. And pretty soon you have trouble keeping track of the lies that you told. So I found that it was easier with the intent of telling the truth the first time and getting it out in the open. I'm not saying I didn't lie when I was a kid. It happens. Did you break this? No, I didn't do it. I wasn't in here when it happened. Nobody wants to get in trouble. Nobody wants to get in trouble. I understand. Nobody wants to get in trouble at all. Nobody wants to say, hey, I did it, my brother didn't do it. I did it. My brother and I fought all the time. But see, it's different with a person's word. As you grow up and as you get older and you start to value things. And you start to, or I would hope to see that you would start to understand what's important to you. Well, you put the shoe on the other foot, and these kids today that are told you can grow up to be anything you want to be. Do you really mean that? Don't say something to a child if you don't really mean it, because you can be almost so impressionable with what you do and what you say that if you're not careful, you can scar a child for life. One thing I don't want to do is tell a person you'll never, or you're never going to be. If I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, the first thing I don't want somebody to say is, you're in a chair. How in the world can you be a stand-up comedian? And you look at life. You look at life. Everybody wants to tell you what you can't do or why you can't do it. But I believe, and my mother always told me, and my grandparents always told me, you can do anything that you want as long as you put your mind to it. Okay? Positive reinforcement. I don't believe, am I going to be, a great trapeze artist? I don't think so, but that's not something I want to do. Am I going to fly an airplane? I could, if that's what I really want to do. Some parents really know how to keep words. Some parents don't know really how to keep words with their kids. I don't think that it's that they don't know. I think it goes back to, how was the parent raised? Because you've got to go back to how was the parent brought up? What did they see? What didn't they see? I would want my child to have it better than I had. If I had a child, I would want to give my child everything I could. I would want to discipline my child and have them to realize you can't have everything you want, but you can be anything you want to be. And I'm going to support your decision. Now, a lot of people will go through the indecisive. I want to do this. I don't know. This isn't good. I want to change my mind to do this. It's okay to change your mind. The problem that I'm talking about with intent, and going back to kind of what we're talking about right now, is when you make a final decision on something, and when you really go for it, if you tell somebody that you're going to do something, you should honor that. Because when you honor that, you become something that means more to me in life than money. It means more to me than life than having a big circle. It means more to me than having a bunch of friends. Being dependable and being honest with yourself and with other people. When you say you're going to call someone, you should do it. When you say you're going to talk to someone, you should do it. When you say you're going to be there for somebody, you should do it. Don't find a way to get out of it because the situation is hard. Now, I realize, and I've said this before, I understand that life comes up. I understand that life throws us curveballs that we're not ready for. But I also understand that our word as individuals, when we present it to someone else, when we say, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to try my best to do something, that is saying to you or to the person that you're talking to that you're going to try your absolute best to do something. How many people actually do that? I was talking earlier about Heaven not being able to be on the show tonight, and I've been trying to get her on the show for almost 3 years. It's, things come up. Her fur baby is important to her. Her doggie is important to her. And she was very, very upset that she couldn't be on the show because she wanted to be there. She said, do you have a problem rescheduling? I had this happen. I understand how badly she wanted to be there. And I wanted to be there for her and her to know that we understand that life does come up. But you've got these people that are used to backing out of situations at the last minute because their intent was never to go in the first place. And I can say to you, if a person says, if I'm talking to a person and I message that person several times, okay, and they message me back and they say, oh yeah, I want to talk to you. I want I want to do this. I want to set up a time to talk. And you've established that basis of communication. Getting back to that, what does that mean? What does the basis of communication actually mean? That means establishing a link between two people where you realize that you want to talk to a person and they want to talk to you. You have some form of of connection. You have some form of something that makes you want to talk to that person. And then all at once you hear so many times, I'm going to call you, 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 and they don't do it. It's one of those things where you don't think about that person saying it over and over. Your automatic response to that person saying that they're going to call you and they've never done it is that they're not going to. But it's not necessarily that. Have you thought about what that other person has going on in their life? Do they have a child? What's their work schedule like? Are they afraid to communicate? How often do they talk to you? What's the real basis of communication? Have you asked them, hey, every time you say you're going to call me, you don't do it. Why? And sometimes you've got to be brutally honest and brutally cutthroat. I've seen people that try to force their intent. What do I mean by forcing their intent? Let's go on just for a second on I was wondering what that comment there was, Milton, till you told me you were cleaning your keyboard. I've seen some people force their intent to be in a relationship, work too fast, go too fast, say something and then try to play it off as a funny message. Words, as I said before, words can hurt people, and you have to be careful how you say things and how they come out. Because what does it present to the other person? How does it make the other person feel? I've been in a situation where I've said something totally not meaning to totally not meaning anything by it, and made a person feel uncomfortable. That's happened more than one time in my life. But you have to talk to the person and be like, look, when I said that, what I meant was this. I wasn't trying to make you feel uncomfortable. You have to be honest enough when you make a mistake with a person that you can own up to it. Owning up to your mistakes makes you more of a man or a woman than you could ever be by not owning up to it. Dancing around or beating around the bush is easy, because that's the easy way out. And taking that easy path, if you've done it your whole life, that's all you know. But sometimes you have to take life by the horns and really go, you know what? I did or said this, and I'm sorry that it made you feel this way. You've got to take ownership of the person and how they feel first, not what you weren't trying to do. You cannot force your intent on anybody. You can, but it very, very, very seldom works when you force it. Because people can feel when it's forced. If a person tells you they need space, or a person tells you they can't, they need space, you've got to understand what that really means. How often do you talk to that person? How often do you try to connect with that person? You can be trying to be friendly, but too much of a good thing is a bad thing. You can smother somebody. You can smother somebody half to death because you call them all the time. I've had to learn many times in my life, it's not how much you talk to a person. It's what you say that makes it happen when you talk to them. I'm going to bring Miss Shayna in just a second. Hey, Miss Shayna, are you with me?
Yes. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing?
I am doing well, sweetheart. Have you been able to catch much of what we were talking about, or were you able to just get on?
I was just able to get on.
Well, we've been talking a lot about intent, and how, even from being very at a very early age versus, being uh, growing up. With a child, you tell a child you're going to do something, and they're very impressionable. That you
Yeah,
should always try to keep your word, but having that integrity, you know, that characteristic carries with you through life. When
absolutely.
you and you having children, you know this. If you tell your child when they're growing up that they've done something good and you're going to take them to the park and you don't do it, you're not honoring what you say to them.
No,
What
I
was
think
your? Mhm.
that's true, DJ. Because as a parent, I look at I look at it as you letting your child down, and then eventually, if you keep promising and promising and promises, and you never come through, especially with a child, eventually they just give up hope, and they may decide that from now on, whatever you say you're going to do, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt because I'm not sure if you're really going to do it because you let me down so many times so far.
Well, and a child will trust quickly and build a wall even quicker.
Oh, yes.
Because children know, even at a very early age. We're not able to see your camera either, Shane. I don't know if you did that on purpose or not, but
Oh,
um,
yeah. I'm not camera ready.
oh, okay, okay.
I had to hurry up and jump on before it got too late.
I look at children as the spice of the world, and what you say to a child, they take to heart. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about, in a relationship, you can't force your intent. You can try, but most of the time, forcing your intention, it doesn't work because it comes on too hard or too fast. And children can see that.
Yeah.
Children are so smart. The things that come out of the mouths of babes, man,
Mm,
especially at a young age, they know. You
try
said
to
you
take
were
it.
gonna, you said you were gonna take me to the park in 20 minutes. You didn't do that. Now I understand things that come up. I've mentioned several times in the show I was supposed to have Miss Heaven on today, and she had a veterinarian emergency where she had to take her fur baby to the vet. And she was, really upset about it. And I said, it's okay. We can reschedule you.
Right.
And you understand in life that things come up. That's life. That's the way it is. But it can't happen all the time.
Right. I
And
think
it, mhm,
go, but with me, DJ, I think maybe if the person say they're going to do something. I'm talking about adult now. If
mhm.
you're saying you're going to do something, the first time fool me once, second time fool me twice. What is it? Shame on you. Third time, I ain't gonna let you fool me no more. So I want you to be honest and truthful with me. If you can't do it, just say so.
You
Don't
know,
beat
we
around the bush.
right. We were just talking about that in honesty and integrity. I would, when I was growing up, one thing I would get in trouble for the fastest was lying. Because when you lie, a parent knows that, mainly because they probably used that lie before and they've been through it already. Everything that
Absolutely.
you've done to your parents, they've already seen, they've already seen this happen. They've already seen it go through. They've already, whatever it is, that's fine. It's one of those things that they know when you're lying, and it's easier for me to tell the truth right off the bat, because that way when you lie you don't have to keep track of the amount of lies that you told. And when
Mhm.
you lie, that's what you have to do,
The
because you've got to
snowball
tell,
effect.
yeah, you've got to tell another one and another one and another one and another one, to the point where you go, I don't even remember what I said.
But
now
well,
now
yeah, what I didn't told you. Do I got to make notes of the first lie I said and the second
right,
lie
right.
so I keep track of a lie that I didn't told? That's too much hard work. If I ain't getting paid for it, I ain't doing it.
Well, and the thing is, when you're a good liar or a habitual liar, you can go through and you can do that kind of thing.
So
There are
hey,
people there are people that do that constantly over and over and over again, and they're so good at it, they start to believe the lies that they tell.
Yeah. But I mean, eventually you'll get caught. What's done in the dark will come to the light. So
Exactly.
if you think you fooling me, ha ha ha, I got one on you, because you're not knowing that I'm really paying attention to everything you say to me. And then eventually I'm going to call you out on your BS, because that's all it is.
Right. Well, and the thing that I think about, all the way across is either the person's going to like me or the person's not going to like me. It's okay, you know, you don't have to like me, but what you're not going to do is waste my time by lying to me. I
Yes.
would I would much rather hear you say, "Look, DJ, I don't want to hang out with you. I'm not going to call you. I'm sorry I said I was. Truth is, I don't want to hang out." That's fine.
Right.
People act like I've never heard the word no before. It's just like in a relationship. I've been in the friend zone so much in a relationship. I basically lived there for half my life. I know where the friend zone is. I know what zone it is. I know what zip code it is. I know what state it's in. But that's okay. But see, here's the problem. Being a friend doesn't mean to listening to every single problem that you've got and why you stubbed your toe on the stairway. That doesn't mean I don't want to listen to your problem. That doesn't mean I don't want to help you. But if I've got to listen to everything that happened to you since you were 5 years old, I'm not your psychiatrist. You're not paying me for that. But you've got to be honest with the person and say, look, I don't mind being your friend, but being your friend means I'd like you to be there for me too. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Making sure that it's not just a one-way street, and you're not going to treat me like I'm a human garbage can, because that
Mm-hmm.
you get to bring all your negative situations and things like that in on me. But if I'm having an issue or problem, you're nowhere to be found. So this got to be more than a one-way street. This street got to open up both ways. And that means you got to do for me what I do for you. It's not tit for tat. It's just out of respect. If I'm a shoulder for you to lean on, make sure you have that shoulder when I need it.
I love the way you said that about friendship being a two-way street. I always try to be there for people because I'm a good listener. I've always been a good listener, but my intent sometimes is to fix everything, and you can't fix everything. Hey, Lena, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here, sweetheart. I look at life, and if you notice that a person, if all they do is they call you, and man, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and there's never any, how are you?
Yeah.
How are
What do
you
you?
feeling?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that the two-way street involves friendship, and if you look at it, friendship is you're both on the boat. You can't be on the boat by yourself, and one person swimming in the water and just floating along.
Yeah.
Friendship
Pull
is
me out of the water when you want me to vote and listen to your mess. Not
exactly.
necessarily saying always mess, but
You know, Lena said this. What you're discussing sounds like my family. Nothing but lies. I found that out when I was in the hospital. And if you think about it, that's a classic example right there. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you have people tell you, "Oh, if you were ever in trouble, I'd be there for you in a heartbeat. I'll be there when you're sick. I'll be there when you need me." Blah 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 blah. Look, see, that's the intent that I'm talking about. I don't need you to say that because you think I want to hear it.
There you go.
That's what I'm about. My thing is not about hearing what you're going to do. My thing is you stand behind what you say. You
Yeah.
do what you say you're going to do, and make that friendship foundation powerful to where you and I will both do the same thing. I can call Shayna day, night, same thing. She can call
Vice
me day,
versa.
night. I don't care what time it is. We will be there for each other because it's just that way. She will ask me advice on something and say, "What do you think I should do?" Now, I'm not going to say, "Shayna, I think you should do this," without her asking, because That's not how our friendship is. I may volunteer advice, but it doesn't mean that she has to do it.
Right.
There's got to be give and take. Shana, do you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to. I guess you would say compromise.
Yeah.
It's sort of like compromising. If I'm here to be able to offer you advice, and vice versa, you'll be able to do the same thing. It doesn't mean you have to take it, but I'm just willing to offer because that's the relationship that we have. It's not just the one. Again, it's not just the one way street. And with Miss Lena saying like her family did the same thing, I'm quite
Mm-hmm.
sure they promised her sweet nothings because
Mm-hmm.
that's what they are. They sound good and they sound sweet, but actually it's nothings because they're not coming through on their end of what they had promised me. And let me tell you, DJ, it's a lot of relationships like that. Not only friendships, you have relationships with people that are together and they're
Mm-hmm.
experiencing that. You have that as parents, other parents that may promise the children things, and then you are the main caretaker for me, and I have to sit back and deal and clean up your mess that you've.
Well, and the thing that you're just talking about right there, what I've seen a lot of people do is you'll say great things to my face. Oh, DJ's wonderful. He's this, he's that. Oh, he did this for me and did this for me. And then all of a sudden, second my back is turned, you're ready to stick the knife in it and say what a horrible person I am. Look, it's like I said, not and Milton made a comment right here. It's okay if you don't like me. Not everyone has good taste. It's okay. You don't have to like me. No, I'm not sitting here on top of the throne going, whether you like me or not matters. I see people in relationships because they think they have to be. Well, we had a child, we should stay together. You don't stay together for a child. Now that's just my opinion. I believe that the child should know what's going on. I believe that a mother and father can still love a child, but don't necessarily have to be uh, together because of that child. Now, I believe that they can reconcile, but I do believe that a person should not stay with another person just because they have a child if they're not going to work and they know it.
You better say that again, 'cause I'm telling you the truth here. I wouldn't touch my children if I was with a 10-foot pole. And I'm not going to argue with you. If we can't talk and communicate as
It's
two adults, then
right.
there's nothing needed. It's no relationship. And I'll let your children find out about who you really are when they get old enough and they figure out for themselves how you really are. I'm
Now,
not
see,
at the
you
fool.
you made a great point right there. When a child gets old enough, between the ages of 16 and 18,
Hmm.
that child is going, and sometimes younger.
It's before six. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's younger. Sometimes it's about 13 or 14. Depending on the maturity level of that child, male or female, or whatever they are, whatever gender they are, it doesn't matter. They're going to start making decisions for themselves. They're going to start seeing what is going on.
There you
Okay,
go.
if the mother bashes the father every time they're there, if the father bashes the mother every time they're there, that child's going to know that, and that child is going to start seeing the. I gotta turn this ring light off. This thing is whoo. I gotta turn down the brightness. It's killing me. It's just one of those things where they do it. Um, so much that, thank you, it becomes this large and astronomical thing where, oh, your father did this to me, oh, your mother did this to me. Look, you can't, you gotta let a child make his own decision, his or her own decision.
You better say it
That,
again.
I think that is the key to intent right there. The road is paved in this world with good intentions. But every now and then you're going to hit a pothole and that road's going to break open and you're going to have to make a decision somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna have to make that decision. Is my time, is my ear, because I'm listening to this crap, is it worth my time? Is it worth me missing out on something else in life? Is
Mm-hmm.
it worth me sitting here I don't want to be here. I don't feel like listening to them, but I don't want to be mean to them. So I'm going to sit here and listen. Is it worth you putting yourself through all that HELL just so that person can feel better about themselves, but they're not returning the same? It's not worth it. I say you go your way, I go mine. If we can't make this a two-way street, bye bye, boo.
Well, and sometimes you have to do that. Lena said this. I'm dealing with that, with the meaning. It's all about her and nothing about me. It's all about what did I have to eat and taking control. So she thinks I'm not her pincushion. I'm not going to continue to succeed and shine. You know that's you've got to do what you need to do for your well-being. Because
Yeah,
last time I checked, Lena, you're over 21 and can decide for yourself what the heck you want to do.
there you
And so
go.
many people try to force an issue that's not there because of what they know. Okay, a person can know something. A person can be right but be wrong because you've got to remember every life is different and every person has to find out for themselves what their life is about.
Yep, sure do.
And I struggled with that because I see people make mistakes and I don't like for them to hurt, or I don't like for them to do that, or I don't like for them to fall. But in order to fall makes you be able to get back up. See,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to see that too, because in that fall, that's what life is all about. Hey, Thomas, hope you're doing well, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. It's one of those things where I have to think I could stop everything from happening. The truth is, you can't stop anyone from getting hurt all the time.
Nope.
Eventually, everyone is going to get hurt. But if they don't scrape their knee a little bit, they're not going to build up the resistance and find out how to live through it.
You got it.
And that's what I love about my mom. My mom and my grandparents were comforting, but every now and then I'd fall on my butt and scrape my butt a little bit. You have to learn. You know, if you how are you going to learn not to touch a stove if you don't touch it first?
Yeah, you got to feel that heat. Once you feel that burn, you
But
going to know right from wrong.
but see, that's the whole thing about life. I'm not saying you got to make the big mistakes, okay? But you can't tell everybody everything in every moment because, like I said before at the very beginning of the show, life doesn't come with a manual, and that's the sad part. Okay, but as I sit here and I go back, you know, I look at someone's intent and what they really want to do, but sometimes they don't acknowledge that in the first place because they're afraid of hurting the person. As long as you're telling the truth and you do it the best way that you know how, sometimes that's all it takes.
Well, that is true, DJ, but you also got to look at it. What is that person's real intention? You may have some that's good, and then you may have some that's not good at all. You just have to know for you, what is this person's real intention?
You know, there are all kinds of people in this world, and you just talked about what I spent the first 12 minutes on the air talking about. You have to find out what the person's about through a basis of communication.
Yes.
If
What's their purpose in my life?
exactly, there's going to be that person's either going to be good, bad, neutral, or all they're going to do is suck the life out of you.
Absolutely.
There are some of those people that are just constantly in your life because they need their drama to be heard.
Hmm.
That's their
Huh.
that's their intent. There are some people in your life that are trying to suck the life out of you, trying to make themselves feel better.
Yeah, there you go.
And there are some people in your life that are genuinely trying to help you, and you turn your backs on them, looking at them like you're stupid and don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Hmm.
Now, understand, I'm not. I don't mind if anybody makes a mistake, okay? But I have had this, and Shayna knows about it. Shayna, I've had a 3-strike rule in my life since I was 12 years old. And that 3-strike rule has been a rule that I stick by. And
Mhm.
every once in a while, I'll let that 3-strike rule go out the window. And then I ask myself, as I do something 6 times in a row, or 7 times in a row, or 8 times in a row, why in the world do you do this to yourself? Why
It,
do you allow it, thinking that you're going to see what you want to see instead of what's actually going on?
exactly. You know what I think it is? I'm not a therapist or nothing like that. Just speaking from experience.
Mm-hmm.
In our minds, we want things to be a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to take on other things, and we're going to take, like I say, take other things, and we're going to go with it because in our minds we want this thing this way, so I'm going to put up with this bull crap because in my mind it's going the way that I want it to go eventually, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
eventually never comes,
Right.
and you still sitting there waiting stuck.
In some cases,
Yeah.
and in some cases, you tough it out, and it works.
Yeah.
In you know, you really got to realize 2 things. How much is it worth to you?
Hmm.
How much are they worth to you? How much is this person that drives you up the freaking wall worth?
Ain't worth
And
that much.
when do you let him or her go?
Immediately.
Because everybody has a breaking point.
Hmm.
And when you see that the intent is not what they told you the intent was, you're going to go, okay, I've either got to deal with this or I'm going to let it suck the life out of me.
Exactly. But sometimes I think with me, as the older I've gotten, well, I'm just 30, I'm just 37. In my mind, I'm 17, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
7. And with me, as the older I've gotten, it's like I don't have time for the nonsense. So I'm going to cut it off as fast as I can because I
See,
have time for it.
I've done that. And I've said I was going to do that. But sometimes you find that person that is extremely hard to cut off. I mean, that you've been friends with this person for God knows how long, and he or she's been in your life since the beginning, and y'all been friends since you were little, and you just don't know how to cut this person off because you keep thinking it's going to be okay. That's when you have to decide, and you're the one that has to see, okay, this is affecting me this way. If I don't change this right now, the only person that it's truly affecting is me.
Yeah.
And that's where the decision has to come into play to say, all right, is this affecting me enough to make a change?
They
Is this affecting me enough to where I have to do something? Because I've heard the same thing over and over and over. I would never do that to you. I would never do that to you. I would never do that. Look, nobody always or nevers.
hmm
Let me explain that to you right off the bat. If somebody says, I will never do that to you, they can say, I will try my best not to. But that's different than saying, I will never.
Yeah.
Because you can't never not do something because you don't know what never is.
Yep. And sometimes never comes.
Right. And always the same thing. I will always be there for you. No, you won't.
Mm-mm.
Everybody eventually will let you down. The only person you can trust truly all the time is yourself and God. And you're going to even let yourself down by doing something stupid
You can say that again.
because everybody does it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Everybody does it. It's not that you do it on purpose. It's life. It's life. That's what I'm saying. I got up here and I was like, I don't know if I really want to talk about this because I'm not just pointing at one person. This is not about one person. This is about life. When you choose your friends and your circle, you can't choose your family, unfortunately. I know some people are like, boy, I wish I could go in there and change that out. But
But you know what? I want to give you some information. If you cold hard like me, you sure can. You choose not to speak to them anymore and keep it moving. Keep
Well, what I mean by that is you can't choose it genetically.
no, you can't change that.
Because some people are family outside of your race, outside of your religion, outside of your ethnicity. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I just, I call Saint Shayna my sister all the time. It's not about black or white. It has nothing to do with that.
okay.
I call Winnie Wilson my mom all the time. And people look at me and I go, what? Because I'm black? And they freak out because I say something like that. But then I go, oh, I didn't know. Because I don't look at color. I never have. It is the intent of the person. I've talked about this when I did a video a couple of weeks ago. 4 things. Does it make you happy? Does it truly make you happy? What do they bring to the table?
Right.
And the third one is the hardest question. Can you live without them? If your answer is no, then they need to be in your life. If you can live without them and they're treating you like yesterday's garbage, they gotta go.
Bingo. That's simple as that.
But hearing the advice and actually applying it, that's the hard part, because some people are so comfortable in their own comfort zone that they've never been out of it. Me included. It took me years to get out of where I was. It took me years to understand that I'm capable of more than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And some people are stuck by what people tell them because they're negative.
Right.
But have you ever thought about that's the intention of that person? That's what that person is trying to do. They can't succeed, so they don't want you to succeed either.
Yeah.
And I know you know people like that, Sheena, because we've talked about it. But you can't let someone drag you down on top of their negativity, because the only thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to get wrapped up in crap you don't need.
Yeah, and you're going to be stressing out, going bald, losing hair, can't eat, can't sleep because of somebody else's mess. If anything, let it be my own mess that I'm losing sleep, can't eat, and, can't sleep because of it. Let it be my own. I don't want it because of somebody else's.
Let me say this too. I know we're getting close to the hour, and I'm glad Shayna was able to come up here. Our first reflection before anything starts, our first reflection before anything happens, has to start with us. It's not about what other people see. It's not about what other people say. It's not about what other people do. Our first reflection has to start with us, and we got to understand who we are as people first.
Yep.
When we come to grips with who we are, and what we're about, and I'm not talking about what other people tell us we're about. I'm talking about the truth of what we see within ourselves. When you look in the mirror, men, women, children, whoever you are, when you look in the mirror, if you don't like something about yourself, change it.
Only you can.
Because only you can. If you don't like your weight, change it.
Only you can.
If you don't like the way you look, what don't you like about it? My nose is too big. Stop looking at your nose. Use it for what it's designed for. Smell stuff. If you got a big bazonkin nose, that means you can smell good. You can smell that peanut butter and jelly sandwich from 25 yards away. You ain't even got to be in the house.
Or maybe they don't want to smell the stinky stuff too good, so therefore get a nose job.
But see, if you do that, you're going to spend $30,000 correcting something that you don't need to correct in the first place.
Well, that's on you.
So many people are worried about their physical appearance. Their physical appearance.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you where your physical appearance changes. If you walk around smiling or you walk around frowning.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter how you look, how big you are, how small you are, how much you weigh, how many legs you got, how many arms you got, what disability you got, black, white, green, yellow, purple, whatever. It doesn't matter what is wrong with you. If you carry yourself with a smile, you are going to get a lot further in your life than you are frowning and being negative all the time.
Yeah.
So this whole show, we've been talking about one word, intent. Intent. So what do you intend to do? Are you tired of being in the same spot every day? Are you tired of that same old dead end job where you're not getting anywhere, where you've been passed up 5 or 6 times and you want to get something different? Look for another one. Don't quit that one till you got another one. If you want something in your life to change, change it. If you don't like the color of your hair, change it. But sometimes it's not always about the physical. Sometimes it's right up here.
And in the heart.
That's and don't let it be about, well, she did this to me. He did this to me. You can't control what they do. You cannot control what they do. You can spend your whole life trying to control what other people do to you.
Let me know
Or
out.
or you can spend your life working on what you truly need to work on, which is yourself.
Absolutely. And that's it. And that's the way it goes. You have to worry about self. You can't worry about everyone else, because if you take your time worrying about what everybody else is thinking and doing, you will never have time for yourself.
And
Then
you're gonna waste most of your life because you were concerned with what everybody else thought.
mm-hmm. I've been there and done that, and let me tell you, it ain't no fun.
You know, we may do a part two on this show sometime, because I know Shayna has been through it. I know I've been through it, and I know the viewers out there have been through it, to where someone else has tried to convince you that you're doing the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
let me ask you a question with the 3 minutes we've got remaining in this show. When you are down in the trenches, is that person giving you that advice, telling you what you've done wrong, telling you how bad you are, telling you how fat you are, telling you how ugly you are, telling you how much you need to change, how much money you don't make, how better they are than you, that they are than you? Are they down in there with you fighting that battle?
Or they just criticize and
Or are
point.
they just running their mouth because that's all they know how to do?
Uh-huh. You got them.
You got to realize, if they're down in the trenches with you, if they're supporting you, and the water is rising and they're sitting there holding your hand saying, I'm going to sit right here to the very end. That's what a friend is.
Yeah,
That's
but
what true good intent is. I don't care what you've gone through. I don't care about your past. I don't care about how you used to be. I care about the person that you are right now and the changes that you're trying to make right now.
yeah, that's the kind of friend you need. But now, if you got a friend that's going to push you down in that water and hold your shoulders down, or cement your feet so you could be stuck at the bottom, that's not what you want. That's not what you want. They're showing you their intentions, and they're showing you that those intentions are bad.
And stop thinking that those intentions are going to change,
No, because
because it's not their
right.
it's not their intentions you need to worry about.
Mm-mm.
It's not their intentions you need to worry about. It's yours.
Absolutely.
And you're now, I'm not saying leave them stranded, but if they've done it nothing but negative to you, leave them. It's time to go. Guys, look, I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show today. I do want to say this really quickly. I'm getting low on my CDs. My chair is available everywhere on all musical platforms: Amazon, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, uh, YouTube Music. It can be downloaded and streamed anywhere. $15 on Amazon. I do have a website that's available. It is, I will put it in the comments for you guys. But again, I have about 40 CDs left right now. They're selling like hotcakes, and we don't have many more left. So if you do want one, let me know. My Cash App is DJ Rollaway, and my PayPal is also DJ Rollaway. You can search me there. You can also contact me by email. MyCP does not define me at yahoo.com. If you'd like to order a CD, let me know. We are available every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern on www.letgoradio.net and the Disability Global broadcast. We will be available next Wednesday at 7. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Shayna for being in here with me today. And like I said, we have rescheduled Miss Heaven Ramsey for October 12th, so she will be on the show. We'll be excited about that one. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is D to the J with the roll away, saying, remember, the only thing you can change is something that you can control and you can work with, and nothing else matters. Be good to yourselves and each other. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's show, and we will see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the next exciting episode of My CP Does Not Define Me.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.